showtime. All right. Yes. All right. Better luck next time. Are you ready? All right. Yes. 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 All right. All right. Yes. All right. All right. Yes. All right. All right. Yes. Yes. That's a great job. All right. All right. Yes. Oh no. Yes. All right. All right. All right. Yes. All right. Yes. All right. Yes. Yes. Oh no. Yes. 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 All right. Right. Yes. Yes. All right. Yes. All right. Right. All right. All right. All right. Yes. Right. Yes. All right. Yes. Yes. All right. Oh no. Right. Best of luck next time.